Okay, so let's unpack this. I mean, have you ever found yourself searching for just the right word to capture, that subtle shift in mood, or maybe to really understand the tension that's kind of simmering beneath a friend's calm exterior? Today, our mission really is to journey into the rich and incredibly nuanced ways we describe emotions and emotional reactions in English. We're going to focus on those key phrases that help us communicate clearly and hopefully empathetically when we're feeling down or navigating stress, grappling with anger, or just feeling, well, anxious. It's about giving you not just words, but like the right words to say what's really happening inside.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how language doesn't just label emotions. It gives us so many shades, so many subtle distinctions that let us express the intricate tapestry of what's going on inside and truly connect with others. So the goal of this deep dive really is to equip you with a powerful linguistic toolkit. This isn't just about adding to your vocabulary list, but about developing a deeper, maybe emotional intelligence, giving you the precision to articulate your own complex feelings, and just as importantly, to sort of decode the emotional states of the people around you. We're trying to cut through the noise to grasp those practical, nuanced expressions that make a real difference in, well, understanding human connection.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And we've pulled some fantastic insights from authentic excerpts of an English language learning conversation. Imagine kind of peeking into real life dialogue where these phrases aren't just defined in a dictionary, but they really come alive through natural use. We're going to plunge into relatable scenarios, uncovering not just what these expressions mean, but how they're used strategically in everyday life. So get ready to not just upgrade, but maybe deepen your emotional vocabulary. Okay, let's start with a feeling so common, yet maybe often misunderstood in its subtlety. Feeling down. We all know what sad means, right? But feeling down offers this fascinating linguistic nuance. It's rarely a cry of deep despair, I think, but more of a subdued, often temporary dip in mood, a gentle melancholy.
Precisely. And its real usefulness lies in that very subtlety, doesn't it? It's a step away from feeling up or cheerful, yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean something clinical like depression. Notice how often it's paired with qualifiers, like a bit or little. That softens its impact. It makes it a really common, empathetic way to observe someone. It signals a kind of manageable sadness, something you can often cheer up from.
Yeah, and the authentic dialogue we looked at gives us a perfect example. You might find yourself saying, "Oh, I'm a bit down today," maybe after a long week or just a cloudy morning, or like in our source material, Carrie's friend notices that subtle shift and asks, "Carrie, are you okay? You seem a bit down."
Yeah,
It's that immediate sort of intuitive recognition of a lowered mood.
right. And building on that, while feeling down can be that gentle sadness, sometimes the underlying unpleasantness shows up outwardly in a more generalized way, often as being grouchy.
Mhm.
Grouchy describes someone who isn't just unhappy, they're in a bad mood, not particularly pleasant to be around, maybe prone to complaining. It's less about deep sorrow and more about a persistent kind of grumpiness that impacts their interactions with people.
Oh, like that famous TV character, Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street. He's the absolute perfect example, isn't he? Always complaining, always finding fault. Our source even uses him as a fantastic, memorable example. And in the very conversation we're diving into, Carrie actually describes her boyfriend as frequently being grouchy.
Exactly. And this grouchy behavior often stems from an internal state we call being in a foul mood. A foul mood is a very bad mood, an underlying state of mind that directly fuels that grouchy, irritable behavior. So if someone is always in a really foul mood, like the example says, it kind of sets the stage for why they consistently come across as grouchy or difficult. It points to the internal source of the external behavior, you see.
Got it. So whether it's just a fleeting cloud passing over someone's day or maybe a deeper, more pervasive unpleasantness, you now have a more precise toolkit of words, from a gentle down to the more irritable grouchy or an entrenched foul mood. It equips you to not only identify, but also to articulate those subtle differences in emotional states, both in yourself and in others.
Okay, so we've explored the quieter end of the emotional spectrum, but what about when the internal world gets loud? When life's demands just start piling up and you feel like you're drowning. That brings us to a phrase I think everyone can relate to. Stressed out. That feeling of being stressed out.
Yeah.
It's definitely more than just simple stress. Our sources really show how this phrasal verb powerfully conveys a sense of like utter saturation, a point where the pressure isn't just internal anymore, but it's visibly manifested, maybe affecting your actions or even how you feel physically. That out isn't just tacked on, it adds a crucial nuance, almost a feeling of being consumed and externalized by the pressure. It really distinguishes it from just feeling stressed.
Hmm.
It implies you're getting close to a breaking point, maybe.
Yeah, those examples really paint a picture, don't they? The sources give us these incredibly relatable scenarios. Imagine a student juggling like 10 homework assignments, softball practice, and helping with dinner. That's a perfect recipe for feeling completely stressed out.
Yeah.
Or it could be the relentless demands of a demanding job or a looming, intimidating project deadline. It's that feeling of being pulled in a dozen directions at once with no relief in sight.
And that's a key observation. While saying I'm stressed is perfectly okay, grammatically fine, in everyday spoken English, especially when you're just talking casually with friends, stressed out is definitely the more common choice. It seemed to amplify the feeling, making it clear that the pressure has reached a significant, perhaps overwhelming level. It's a subtle linguistic intensifier that we use almost automatically, I think.
Right. So stressed out captures that feeling of being overwhelmed by the volume of things. But what about those moments when it's not the amount of tasks, but the sheer intensity of a single situation that leaves you like breathless with anxiety? That brings us to nerve-wracking.
Nerve-wracking, yeah. That describes something that causes extreme nervousness, tension, anxiety, or just makes a person very uncomfortable and tense. It literally feels like it racks our nerves, you know. It causes this visceral, almost physical strain. It's not just a mental state. It often comes with physical symptoms, pounding heart, sweaty palms, maybe a knot in your stomach.
Mm-hmm. Those examples really do paint a picture. The source material is so vivid here. Suspense movies like Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho or The Birds or, other thrillers like Saw, those can be nerve-wracking. Even riding roller coasters can be incredibly nerve-wracking for some people, right? But what about something more common like public speaking? Oh, man. Your hands shaking, the slides not loading, that agonizing wait for the tech person to fix it, and that internal fear of forgetting what you're supposed to say. That's a perfect storm of nerve-wracking moments. It's that feeling of intense vulnerability and exposure.
It absolutely is. And I'd invite you, our listener, to maybe consider your own nerve-wracking experiences. What specific situations truly make you feel that intense anxiety? It's often those moments where the outcome feels uncertain or where you feel like you're under intense scrutiny, making you feel profoundly uncomfortable.
Okay, moving from that inward tension to more outward reactions. Sometimes that pressure doesn't just make us feel overwhelmed, it makes us easily provoked. Which brings us to being on edge.
Yeah, on edge. What's really insightful about this phrase is how it subtly carries a kind of dual message. It signifies an internal state of acute discomfort and tension, but it also functions as an implicit warning to people around you. You're easily angered or upset, irritable, prone to quick reactions. Think of it like being balanced on a razor's edge, a very precarious, unstable place. The sources give a great illustration. Someone who has just quit smoking might be on edge, meaning they have a very low tolerance for irritation and are easily triggered.
Right. I remember an example from the source where one of the hosts was jokingly asked if they were on edge because they were asking too many questions. It's that recognition of heightened sensitivity. And we also hear about men in the dialogue sometimes expressing nervousness or anxiety through aggressiveness, so they present as on edge.
Yeah.
It's almost like a defensive posture, isn't it?
It's precisely that. And this raises an important question. How do these intense internal states manifest in our interactions? When you're on edge, your reactions become profoundly different, often leading to conflict or maybe withdrawal. It's a phrase that, in some contexts, can actually communicate back off more effectively than saying it directly. It reveals a fascinating layer of sort of nonverbal communication embedded right in our vocabulary. It tells people, without having to spell it out, that your emotional bandwidth is, well, pretty low right now.
Okay, let's talk about those moments when emotions don't just simmer, they boil over. Sometimes you just can't hold it in anymore. So let's explore what it means to lose one's temper.
Right. To lose one's temper is to get very angry, to explode emotionally, or to become intensely upset. What's really striking about many of our English phrases for anger like blow your top, which we'll mention, or lose your temper, is that they're steeped in these metaphors of explosion and uncontrolled force. This isn't just random, I don't think. It offers a glimpse into how English-speaking cultures tend to conceptualize and maybe even experience anger as this powerful, potentially destructive outward burst, which might contrast with cultures that view it more as an internal simmer or, a silent withdrawal.
That's a really powerful way to put it. For me personally, what makes me lose my temper very, very easily is a dirty house or a dirty room. I admit it, I'm a bit of a neat freak. If it's not at least semi-clean, it just really bothers me. It's like, okay, that's it, I'm tired of this. And the reason I think a dirty house sets me off so quickly is that it feels like a total loss of control. Which, for someone who likes order, feels like pure chaos. What about you? Do you have any unexpected triggers that make you lose your temper?
Oh, I completely get that feeling of a loss of control and how that can be a quick fuse for me. Things like repetitive tapping, that incessant, thoughtless noise just gets under my skin, or someone stomping their feet when they're nervous, or the relentless drone of construction drilling outside my window. Those slow, insistent, unavoidable noises can build up a remarkable amount of irritation. And then there are the really annoying ones, like people eating with their mouth open, or the sound of someone biting their nails. Those can really build up that pressure until you just can't take it anymore. But a particularly irritating example that truly makes you lose your temper, someone lying directly to your face when you absolutely know the truth, that's a surefire way to blow your top, which, as you just mentioned, is another great idiom, like a volcano erupting. Or maybe grinds my gears, which also captures that slow, irritating buildup to anger.
Okay, so losing your temper is that outward, often explosive expression. But sometimes people react to intense emotions not by bursting out, but by pulling away entirely. This leads us to the phrase, brush someone off.
Yes, to brush someone off. This means to ignore them, actively avoid their company, maybe subtly or even directly tell them to go away, or just make excuses to dismiss them. It's an active, deliberate act of dismissal or evasion. It's not just passively ignoring someone. It's really likened to literally brushing something like dust away from yourself. It conveys a sense of, I don't have time for this, or maybe you're not important enough for my attention right now, which can be harsh.
I see what you mean. It's that feeling of being actively disregarded. In the dialogue we looked at, Carrie mentions how her boyfriend shuts down and brushes me off when they argue. It's that painful experience of being intentionally dismissed. Other examples could be ignoring a friend's invitation to a movie because you're subtly trying to avoid them. Or maybe a receptionist dismissing a patient who arrived without an appointment with a curt, "Sorry, we can't help you," brushing them off.
It truly is. It's that intentional act of avoidance or disregard, often fueled by an inability or maybe an unwillingness to engage with difficult emotions or conversations. It's a very common, although often hurtful, coping mechanism.
Yeah. You know that feeling when someone just isn't giving you the time of day or seems to be actively avoiding you and whatever you're trying to talk about? Now you know exactly what to call it. Brushing someone off. It's really useful to have that specific phrase to pinpoint that particular type of interaction. So when someone is feeling down or stressed, after navigating all these complex, sometimes difficult emotions, what's one of the best things a friend or family member can do? You got it. Try to cheer them up.
Exactly. To cheer up means to make someone happy, to lift their spirits, essentially to make them go from feeling down to feeling up. It's about bringing joy or comfort when someone is struggling. It's an active attempt to shift their emotional state towards positivity. And the word cheer itself is intrinsically linked to happiness, isn't it? Think of a cheerleader. We're giving a big cheer at a game.
Yeah, the sources mention friends and family members trying to cheer someone up. And it's kind of fascinating what cheers us up personally. For me, if I'm feeling down, I might go out for a drink and some popcorn. There's just something about that simple indulgence. Or chocolate. Chocolate almost always cheers me up. Even going shopping sometimes, not necessarily for clothes, but maybe for gifts for others or something small for the house. That strange remedy can really work. There's maybe a psychological shift that happens when you're doing something that feels good or productive.
I agree completely. For me, when I'm angry or upset, I actually like to organize things. It sounds weird, maybe,
Yeah.
but I might alphabetize all my books, for instance, or color code files on my computer. It's a way to redirect that intense energy into something structured and controllable,
Hmm.
a way to regain a sense of order when my internal world feels chaotic. And cheer up as a phrase is beautifully direct, isn't it? It's a simple, active call to action to help someone transition from that down state to a more uplifted one.
Right. And building on how we respond to emotions, this raises an interesting point. How do we react to advice or observations, especially when they're a bit surprising or maybe cheeky? That brings us to a wonderfully versatile and purely conversational phrase. You are something else.
Oh, this is a fantastic idiom. It's primarily for expressing surprise or disbelief, essentially meaning, I can't believe you, or maybe there's no one else quite like you. It's one of those phrases that carries a huge amount of meaning, but it's almost entirely dependent on your tone of voice and the specific context. Its meaning is like a chameleon. It really changes.
Yeah, the nuance is absolutely crucial here because its meaning can swing dramatically from positive to negative. In the dialogue, remember, a friend says, "You are something else, you know that," after being given the rather bold advice to get rid of him and get a new one. Uh, in that context, it's clearly a joke between friends, right? Acknowledging someone's unique or unbelievable nature in a good, lighthearted, almost admiring way. It's like a playful jab.
Precisely. But imagine, maybe, if you discovered a friend had betrayed you or a partner had been cheating, you might react by saying with a very, very different tone, wow, you are something else. You know that. Here, it completely morphs into something like, you're the absolute worst, or I am truly disgusted by your unbelievable actions. It's a powerful testament to how simple words, when used in spoken English, carry such deep, context-dependent meaning. It relies so heavily on delivery and that shared understanding between speakers.
Absolutely. It really highlights how context and delivery can completely flip the impact of just a few simple words. It's a truly powerful and expressive tool in your conversational arsenal, letting you convey a really complex reaction with just a short, impactful phrase.
Wow, okay. We've covered an incredible and actually surprisingly nuanced range of expressions today. We started with that gentle melancholy of feeling down, moved through the irritability of being grouchy, the overwhelm of being stressed out, and that fragile tension of being on edge. We explored the explosive nature of losing your temper, the dismissal of brushing someone off, and then, thankfully, how to cheer someone up. And we even dissected that fascinating context-dependent idiom, you are something else. It's clear these phrases offer just immense practical utility in daily life, providing a precision for emotions that often, well, eludes us.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, mastering these nuances isn't just about, expanding your vocabulary list. It's really about developing deeper emotional literacy and more effective communication. Full stop. It's about being able to not only name your own feelings more accurately, but to truly decode the subtle signals others are sending out. Understanding these phrases helps us navigate the complexities of human connection, both our own internal emotional landscape and the intricate dance of feelings in those around us. This kind of linguistic precision is really a cornerstone of genuine empathy, I believe.
So, what does this all mean for you, listening in? Well, the next time you're trying to describe a challenging day or maybe understand why someone might be behaving a certain way, you'll have a whole new toolkit of precise, impactful words. You'll hopefully be able to articulate exactly what you mean, cutting through ambiguity, and maybe better understand those around you with a depth you might not have had before. So consider this. In a world where we often struggle to express exactly how we feel, which of these phrases will you choose to truly connect with someone, or maybe even just with yourself this week?